this over. I'm not staring in different directions. Okay. All right. Hey, it's another Sunday. I hope you had a great weekend so far. So I am doing another vanity, of course, and I've already blended it in the front. It's been primed, blended, all of that fun stuff. And I'm just going to show you the paint color. Paint colors from one of the colors in my signature line, and then this is actually just a primer that I use. So I use like a gray primer from Rust-Oleum, and then I blended it with the color that I have. Let me actually grab it real quick. So, sorry, just want to show you. This is the color from my signature paint line. This is one I used. It's called Paraba's Tail. It's like a kind of a aqua type color, but when it dries it gets a little bit darker, like you can see here. So it's kind of like a brighter, I would say, kind of like a darker turquoise-ish type color for that one. So that is what I used, and now I'm going to be adding the Avian Love, or Avian Sanctuary. Avian Love, I love birds, so Avian Sanctuary Transfer. This is the one that I am going to add to the front. I'll be cutting it up and applying it onto the front design as needed. And actually, I need my little hole thingy, because I need to get this. I'm gonna grab it out. Sorry, I need to grab my little thing. So, alright, sorry. I need to pull the drawers out, and of course I take off the hardware. So the hardware is missing, but I need to take these drawers out in order to do this correctly, because I'm only applying this to the front right here. So I'm going to, my plan is to cut out one of these peacocks and kind of line it up right here because it fits perfectly, and then I'll be adding the florals up here, and just kind of adding them in the center a bit as I go, and that's my plan for the first step that I'm doing. And then I'll be adding patina. If I have some time, I'll add some patina onto the transfer as well. So just trying to get this so it doesn't roll up on me. Especially with these long sheets, they tend to roll up on each other, so just be careful when you're unrolling them. It's just really easy for them to like separate from the backing unless you have it taped up. So just watch out when you're doing these for the backing to like come off, and then it'll roll up and then it'll stick, and then that's going to suck. So just be careful with that when you're doing the long transfers, especially. I mean, all the transfers, but especially these long sheet ones are the easiest to get rolled back up. So that's never good. Okay, so I'm cutting out the peacock here. I don't want all of the design on here. It's a little bit too busy, so I'm kind of putting this one apart. It's a pattern, so this one's a little bit different. It's a patterned one that's repeating in the design, and that's not exactly what I want for this one. So you can always cut these apart and then create your own design as you go. So like this, that's my plan right here. So I was going to go around, you know, this little decal thingy, and then just have it kind of, you know, go up so it looks continuous, and then I'll just cut off this bit right here after I stick this guy on. So I'm just gonna stick this one on real quick. Just want to make sure I get the peacock in here. And get it tilted right. Okay, excellent. So, just gonna try to stick this down. Ah, no, stay. So, yeah, definitely want these guys to stay. So I'm just gonna rub it a little bit so it stays on here. The paint was a bit chalkier, so it doesn't stick as well as usually my other pieces do because they're a satin finish. So with the chalkier paints, it's more difficult to get the transfers on and off of it because it's harder to grip on here. So you can just seal it real quick with a water-based poly over it, and then wait for like an hour, and then apply the transfer, and it'll be a lot easier to do. You don't have to do satin. There's like a matte, you know, polys as well, matte one. So if you don't want the shine, just use a matte one, and it won't have any shine on it, and then you can put the transfers on, and then it'll be a lot easier, so you're not rubbing the crap out of it, trying to get it off of here. So just a little tip in case you're having like issues trying to get this thing off on here. So go ahead and rub. And yes, typically I take out the drawers. So for demos, I do things a little bit different so you can see. But I usually take out the drawers to do this because it's easier. Right. And this is the transfer tool. So if you guys haven't seen this before, I highly recommend it. It is awesome and far better than the stick. So I'm just rubbing this edge to make sure it gets like a clean line down here so that I don't tear it accidentally until I'm ready to cut it. So, alright, I'm just gonna put this guy in the grooves right here. I don't want it to, you know, be raised and not be into the grooves, because when I seal it, it's gonna start peeling if it's not deep inside of the lines. So just be careful when we're doing things that have like indents and grooves and things like that. So just watch out for that. So, rub this guy. Leaf. I rub this guy on. Okay. So it shouldn't be too hard for me to peel this off, but since I sealed it already, but it should be okay. It's just these edges right here that are the hardest part to get off here. I don't want to rub too hard because then I'll scrape my paint, so don't want to overdo it when I'm trying to get this thing off. So a little bit of the transfer excess. Yeah, and as you peel it, sometimes the transfer is not really on, but it peels off. And you want to make sure it's rubbed completely on so it doesn't wrinkle. It's very easy to get these guys to wrinkle if you peel off the clear part too quickly. So definitely not like ripping off a bandage. Try to go a little bit at a time with these, especially these ones that have a narrower designs on them. Just watch out. So little, and then I have to get this in the groove again. So, just get it. This is why I like the transfer tool, because you can get all the little corners. I love the tip of it. Just like helps a lot. So I'm just gonna kind of hold this up too so it doesn't slip and fall off on me. So I'm just trying to get the groove for sure. This is the part that will cause issues for me if I don't do this. And I'm also getting the groove first so that it doesn't tear. So groove first and then the rest of it on like that. There's another groove right here. So just get the grooves. Oh shoot, see I scratched it. Dang it. I'm gonna have to touch that up. It's fine. It's just what I was trying to avoid doing. Okay. This thing off. I'm just gonna try to get this a little bit at a time while I'm doing this. Weave. It's just just gonna rub this on. And it's gonna go down slowly as I'm doing this. All these areas off right here. And this plastic is kind of getting in the way a little bit, so just got to do a little bit at a time. This part, let's see, is it? Yeah, there's another groove right here. So it's kind of, I'm going to try to get this the best I can. Oh, there's another one up here too I missed. Alright. Patch right here. And this bit right here. Is that another groove? Kind of. Kind of sort of is. So you just want to make sure this gets in here. Don't want it coming off. Okay, there we go. So it's getting there. See these little flowers right here, and then scraped it again. I'm gonna have to fix those. Right, and then I have my little blade. Just keep that over there. I'm going to trim the bottom so that it's nice and neat and it doesn't, it's not jagged. So, hopefully that doesn't do anything. Make sure I get this edge especially. Right there. Trim it. I just don't want it to tear off. It doesn't look good when it tears. So just want it to look not messy. Okay. So got all the little grooves. I'm just gonna make sure There's a part. And then all of the wrinkling that can happen. Alright, I think it's good now. Alright, so yeah. Alright. Awesome. Let me see. I don't know if I want to add something here. I might keep some neutral space, so we'll see. See what happens. But I'm definitely going to add this one in the center up here on this drawer. So pull this guy out. Push this guy back in. So definitely going to do this one like that. And press it like I did with the other one. Just kind of like stick it on. Make it stick. Okay. And I'm just going to trim this guy off because it's so long. I don't want it to like get stuck on something else so that I can't use it later. Let's try it again. Okay. Should be okay. So leave that right here. So I'm just gonna get the these grooves again. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I can't really see your questions sometimes, so it's not that I don't want to answer, but Facebook, you know, and Instagram are just fun like that. Alright, so again, just gonna get this in here really well, and try not to scrape this off. I like how the transfer tool has two different sizes. This one's really good for when you have the transfers that are like more of a natural sheet. And then of course the really large transfers like Cosmic Rose, which I'm actually going to be doing on the sides up here. So I'll be using the Cosmic Rose's transfer too. As I'm pulling it, it's kind of wrinkling, so trying to get it as flat as possible. Just gonna pull this gently and get these edge parts. This branch. Okay. Yeah. Slippery. Okay. Right, just try to get this area right here. It's always these little leaves and stuff are more difficult to pull off. The branches too, so. But it's not as hard as the script stuff, so if you want a challenge, go get one of those and apply that. Those are the ones that are a workout. Alright. Okay, let me just make sure the grooves again. So make sure it's on here. Okay. Oh, I see a little bit that's not. I just don't want to scrape too hard because of my paint, so I don't want to do that. Alright. So, up. This guy. Here. So, oh, I see some wrinkles. Just want to burnish and make sure you got it on really well so it doesn't cause you issues in the future when you're almost finished with it. I'm trying to weigh it down so it doesn't pull up. These things are. And onto the other side up here. So I'm going to do the other side there. Okay, so it's alright, my butt's already dirty, so it doesn't matter. Okay, can you guys see? Alright, so I'm going to do this part now. Sorry, just gonna adjust the stands. I don't have a cameraman. Right, so I'm gonna do this part. However, I don't think I'm gonna do the peacock. Reason being, they're kind of facing the same direction, and I don't really like that. I think it looks kind of weird, you know, if they're both facing in the same direction. If it was opposite directions, I would. So I'm not going to do the peacock, but I will do the bird branches instead. This one might actually be okay to go over this applique that's already on there. It's antique vanity. So I think. I'm going to trim it and actually do it so that it's kind of like an arc, and have that be the other side with the birdies. Okay, I'm just trying to think about how to trim this so that it doesn't look like I cut it off. Trying to get around these flowers. Okay, I think I got it. Oh, there's a cute butterfly, but I think the butterfly is going to be in the way, so I'm going to have to take off the butterfly. I'm actually going to make a gap, I think, so that's a little bit easier to do this. So that way I can, yeah, put this over like this, and it'll look okay. So, a little flower on here, and just don't really want this to get on here, so, but I do want the flowers, so it's kind of, I want part of the flowers at least, so that you get that blue, which is why I chose this, because it has the blue, so, right. There it goes. Alright, I'm going to try to be careful with this. Yeah. And it's actually good it's not super sticky, so I can kind of adjust it a little bit without it peeling on me. Okay. Alright, I'm going to hold this down and oh, it's hiding, of course. Alright. Where's the other thing? Blade. Okay, I think I got everything. So I'm just going to rub this on so it doesn't fall off on me before I get this groove in here. Alright, and just go from trim off the top and make my way down. It's just better to trim it off, so that way you can reuse the little piece if you need to. Like if you mess up, let's say somewhere, you can just, you know, apply a little bit of the transfer to fix it. I do that all the time. Like if I make a mistake on a certain area, when I keep the leftover bits, I can just use that and just stick it back on instead of touching it up with paint. So that works really well. So that's why you should keep all of your scraps, like all of them. I have like a huge laundry basket of transfer scraps that I probably won't use ever for the majority, but you know, it's there. Okay, I think I can start peeling this off. Carefully.
Wow, that's amazing. So he's like one of the last old guards. Yeah, largely, yeah, the woodworking, electronica. Lighter ball.
Try not to scrape over it like I did the other one. And, ruin my paint. It's these edges right here. There's no halo, so it's hard to rub it off. Since I trimmed it directly off, so. Right. Let's go down. Get this groove again. Or get this bird. I'm trying to make it go down, but this is where it's good to have the tip. Is these smaller areas right here. So you like rub it really hard, it gets off. And just the edges. The edges are always the more difficult part to get. But once you have the edge on, then it's pretty much easy to peel it straight off. This arc is a little bit, making it a little bit difficult. Because I'm trying to get both sides at the same time, and kind of not as easy. But it's gonna look good once I get this off. Just make sure I try to do it evenly. Here. Yeah. Takes a lot of concentration to transfers. I think sometimes people think transfers are easy, but as you know, that is not the case. They are not decals, so it's not as easy putting on transfers as sometimes people think. I think the longest time I've done a transfer was like 2.5 hours, and that was the Rose Celebration, I think. And I was doing it over a hutch doors, and they had the grooves and stuff, so that took me forever to get off. But once it was done, it looked, you know, really good. But transfers are not a piece of cake sometimes. But they are definitely worth it, especially if you are Monet and you can't paint these incredible designs, or invest in the time to paint these incredible designs. So I just wiggle this guy off. Okay, let's go back to this side. Shoot. I scraped it again. I kind of pulled it. Okay. I'm just going to leave that to get to this part. Easy doing this bit. Okay. So I'm just going to cut off this bottom and get the rest of it off. Right here, I don't have the plastic off, like around it enough, so I'm just really afraid of scraping the edge of this coming off. So that's why I'm kind of babying it a little bit so I don't scratch my paint off. Again. Bottom to the top. Press this guy down. So didn't want that on here, but I'll scrape it off a little bit. I'm using the wax on the applique, so that's why I don't want the transfer on it, because it makes it really hard to get the wax on. The transfers are so slick, if you try to wax over them, it's very difficult. It off too quickly. Okay, I'll just put the, see, scraps, right? I think I ripped it off and I didn't notice that, so, oh well. So this is when scraps are nice to have. Fix the little bloopers. And just like, take it off. Okay, there we go. So, all fixed. Alright, excellent. I'm just going to rub some of this wrinkling off so it's nice and flat. It always happens. I mean, it's just one of those things. That's why you need to burnish your transfers. Burnish just means rub over them. So, and you can do it with your fingers, like a cloth, a soft cloth. This actually works the best. I also have burnishing blocks too that I use sometimes as well. But just make sure you get it on there as well. So I like that. And now I'm just gonna do a little bit of the top again, but I want the blue flowers again, so I think I'm going to, where did I trim this other one? Let's see. Just trying to think how I'm going to cut this. Kind of like this trailing part. Just trying to think of the hardware. If I do it like this, hardware is going to be, it's in the way or not. Could do this part, then the peacock tails right there. No, I don't think this is gonna work. Let's see. I need to use my other sheet because I want it to be kind of like that one. So I'm going to actually trim off this top part and use that instead. And cut off that one branch that's like connected to the peacock. I'm just going to trim this off. I think I'm okay to cut it right there. Just want to make sure it's not too short because then I can't fix it that easily if I do that. I'm actually going to take off the butterfly. Lay it flat and then go ahead and opposite way. Okay. Just one in the opposite direction of the other jar. So I will just this right here. This one should be a lot easier to do. And do it right here. Just the knob is in the center, so if I did it like this, the knob's going to be like right in the middle, and I don't really want that. So I'm going to do it more off to the side a bit, so that the knob is not in the way as much. I just try to kind of plan it out with the hardware placement and where I put my transfers. So that they're not completely covered up. It'll be easier if I go this way. Try to peel this off this way. This time I'm going from side to side. So it's not. Okay, yeah. There we go. Edge parts are always annoying to get off. But I'm just gonna rub as I go and gently get this thing off here. Okay. Love this. And okay, almost there, and then we'll get to the fun part of some other things. I'm gonna try to get away with not trimming that one. Doesn't really matter. I can always fold it under so that you can't see it, but it's gosh, look at it. Okay. Get these little grooves, and then I will show you guys how to seal over it as well. Make sure this is press this down. Rub this off. Okay. And just there. Alright, I think that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna keep it like this, and then I'll add more if I feel like it, but I kind of like it the way it is for now. So, and then the middle part, I haven't decided what to do. I think I might add a mold actually, rather than apply more of the transfer, maybe. But I'm gonna complete the rest of it before I decide what to do in the middle. And this part, because it's kind of like the center, so I don't really know what to do yet for the whole thing, but I'll figure it out. I just kind of think of it as I go. When it comes to like planning the design and stuff, I don't often know the plan from the very beginning. And stuff, there's the wax. Back here, okay. Alright, so this is the Eternal Decor Wax. I'm going to squeeze it a little bit because these can separate a little inside the tube. So if you just kind of like massage it a little bit, then it won't come out like too liquidy, because it sometimes separates a little bit. So yeah. And it gushes out, so be careful with these tubes. The good thing about the tubes though is that the wax doesn't dry like it used to do in the tins, so yeah. But it's just a little bit different. Like, way more than I need. apply another layer. It's a little bit thinned out, that's why it's not going on as thick. And I'm gonna have to press this down. It's like oozed out. I'll just pop it in my tin actually, it's fine. And then I'm gonna do the gold right here too. I'm gonna try not to screw this up. Okay, so I'm gonna do the gold right here as well on this applique right here and just kind of like rub it on with my finger. I like using my finger for the more like these type of details, and if I'm trying to paint a large area I use my brush, but for this one I am just focusing on the raised details, so it's easier to just do it with fingertip, even though it gets messy. So. I'll try not to smear it on the other surface. So I'm just going to add a little bit more right here. And try to get my finger not to slip. Sometimes I do that. Okay. Yeah, I think I need it a little bit more on this curve. So I'll do this here. Well, just get this area too. I just rub it on. Ooh, this part. A little bit. Yeah, rubbed up a little bit too much there. And if you, get a little bit over, just use mineral spirits and wipe it off and it'll come off. So don't worry if you accidentally get a little bit too much or you don't want it. Mineral spirits takes off any kind of wax, so just use that to remove the wax, and it will be just fine. So I'm just gonna rub it over right here too. It's kind of getting messy. Where's my baby wipes? Come in handy. Okay, so actually I'll just do this other side real quick. Alright, okay, so now the fun part. Is going to be chalk paste. I'm just trying to rub my fingers because if I touch my piece and this gold gets on it, I'm going to be upset. Alright, so some chalk paste action. The chalk paste, there's a lot of colors of chalk paste. Mostly pastel, but Redesign did come out with a few new colors too. So they're pretty neutral colors in general, though there's like the aquamarine, which is like a bright blue. So there are a few colors that are brighter, but in general they're pretty neutral, and really great for creating like texture, but also I like creating patina on the surface using the chalk paste because they work really well. They're thick, they're just the right thickness in order to do that pretty easily using the brushes, which I will show you. But I picked English Country, which is like a light gray. So this one's a lighter gray. Vintage Lace is kind of like an off-white. There is the chalk white, which is like white, but the Vintage Lace has a slight, off-white color. And then Gravel, which is gray, but slightly darker, so you can see the difference. This is the English Country, this is the Gravel, English Country also has more of a yellow tone, so it's less of the, you know, like the bluish hue. I don't know if you guys know, you know, tones like the temperature colors, but so that's the difference between these two. And then I also picked Antique Sage, which is a really nice color. So this one is more of the sort of like blue-ish green, but it's not bright at all, so Antique Sage. So I picked these ones to kind of add some texturing here and there. I wanted to add a little bit over the transfers too, just to give it some depth. And so I have the Art Basics. These are the dabbing brushes. These are really, really good to have. And they come in sets, so they sell them separate too, but I like the sets, so you get one of each size, according to what you're trying to do. So it makes it really convenient to do that. So these are from Finnabair. So the Art Basics, they're the bristle type brushes. Actually, I'm not going to do super large one. I'm going to pick the two medium ones. So they're natural bristle brushes, and bristles do come off over time. So I kind of like to just flake them off at first. See, they come off. So I kind of just like play with it a little bit to get the loose bristles off first. So I don't get it on my paint surface. So I just pick the loose ones off and get rid of them. And they'll still come off over time, but that's just what these kind of brushes do, so. There's another one. And they break off too, so, but I don't like hairs on my furniture. Okay. So I'm going to use these two, and then I'm going to kind of, I'm going to hold off on Antique Sage, I think, unless I want to touch up some areas, but I'm going to go ahead and try to use the Vintage Lace, Gravel, and English Country. So I'm going to do these ones first in some areas and see how it goes. Tina's kind of one of those things that's not nice and neat, and you just play around with it and until you like how it looks. My English Country's a little bit dried up. Or the Vintage Lace, sorry, Vintage Lace. Do I have water somewhere? No. Okay, this is the English Country. So it's really creamy and it smells nice. It smells like, I don't know, it's like a floral sort of smell to it. It's just really nice. Smell, so I'm gonna move you guys up. Can you guys see? Okay, you can see, that's good. So try to move you up so you can see this. Oh shoot, sorry. And you guys can see, okay. So I'm just trying to make sure everyone can see everything, so that it's informative. So I think I'm gonna dab the darker first, which is the cement. Just try it out a little bit. Come on, cement. Let's see it. Where's my water? Grab my water and mix it up a little bit. A little bit dried out because I haven't used it in a while, so it's like a bit thick. So I'm trying to scrape it out without splashing it on my face. Okay. just don't want to splash this on my face. Even though I get paint on my face anyways, but okay, so I'm gonna try to get this. Okay. It's not gonna be as thick as I wanted it, but that's okay. So I'm gonna try to, don't want it too watery because then it's just gonna look not like the texture that I am trying to do. So can't have it too thin, can't have it too thick, otherwise it doesn't go on. So it's like Goldilocks. Okay, just have to get it just right. Alright, let me see. So I'm just trying to stipple it. Don't want it to rub on, because that's not what I'm trying to do. So trying to get the texturing part. I was hoping this would be a little bit darker. It's showing up pretty white. Let me see. Okay. I'll use the sage. Okay, this is the sage. So this is what it should look like when it's not dried up like mine. So it's like a creamy texture. You know, good for stenciling too. It's good for a lot of stuff. So I'm just gonna do a little bit here and there. And it's just to give it some depth. Because I've already done, a few blended pieces and they've all been kind of like clean and stuff, so I wanted to do something a little bit different with this one, and add just some texture so it's different than the ones I've already done. Okay, add a little bit of the blue. Don't want too much because this is really colorful. And just kind of blends it in a bit more so it doesn't look too disconnected. I'm just gonna try to this gray spots. Just wanted to do it a little bit over the transfer too. Just do a little bit. Have it be a little bit blended. Just dab a little bit on again. And try not to do too much because then it gets all muddy and mixed up together, and you can't see the different colors. So try not to overdo it, or at least wait for it to dry before you start doing it again. So that way it's not just, it doesn't turn into like a one color. And looks better. So I'm just going to do it here and there. I'm not trying to overdo it. Okay, so just a little bit here and there. I don't really want too much for this one. Just enough so that it looks a little bit aged. Okay. And And, alright, sorry guys, I'm going to turn you over a little bit so you can see this side. Alright, so I'm going to do it again on this side. Add a little bit of the gray here. And just give it some tone. I'm actually going to cover up my mistake right there. Where I scraped off the paint too much. Okay, so just like dabbing, dab, dab, dab. Add a little bit of this. Sage, the sage color. Just blend it a little bit better right here. I messed it up right there. Alright, and then I'm going to add, let's see, a little bit, maybe here or here. It tends to look better around edges too. So if you're doing the patina, do it around the edges. You can do in the middle, of course, you know, but I just think just visually, it generally looks better around edges. Because, yeah, this drawer stop in here, it's like a little wood block, and it got loose, so I'm going to have to re-glue it on the drawer stopper thingy. So with the antique furniture, it usually always is like not connected anymore. So I usually just add in new drawer stops if I need to. So. Blends it in. I really like this color. Okay. Actually, I'm just gonna try to add a little bit of this sage on the outside too, so it doesn't look so much like a white blob. Okay. So add here. Trying to decide if I should add some here. I probably should, so I'll add a little bit right here too. If you guys can see that, okay. Oops. Try not to mix the brushes if I can remember. Just gonna add a little bit here. This other side. Okay. Actually, I kind of like it just the way it looks. So yeah, it's kind of like a fun way to blend too. So if you have trouble blending, dabbing actually really helps for blending. I know it doesn't, you know, it's probably not the way you've been taught, but if you're having issues with blending, just dab, and you'll see that it actually works pretty well as far as blending goes. So just a tip, right? Get the other side. Alright, cool. So I'm going to leave it like that. You can always add more too, but I don't want to do too much on here, and decide I'm going to do gold in these grooves with the wax. So I'm going to paint the wax inside of these grooves as well to make these details stand out. I'm not going to put it anywhere else here because I wanted it to blend in, but I think I'm going to do it on the bottom just because the bottom's kind of plain. So that's kind of like my plan too, is to do it inside the lines here to finish it up. And then I was going to do the Cosmic Rose transfer on the sides. And if you haven't seen this one, it's kind of like a blue Cosmic Roses. One of my favorite ones because I love blue. So this one I'm going to do on the sides a little bit. I'm not going to do like the whole thing because it's huge. It's like 6 sheets, so it's pretty big. So I'm just going to do a little bit of florals on the side. I don't think I'm going to keep the font, actually, or the script. I think I'm going to cut those out, because, yeah, I think I'm going to cut those out. But then I'll do the flowers on the sides and stuff. And then add the hardware, and that will pretty much complete this one. And maybe do faux marble on the top. I haven't decided, so I might do my faux marble on the top of this vanity just to mix it up a little bit. And that's it, and then figure out what I'm going to do in the center of it. 'Cause I think it's most likely going to be a mold. So, most likely a mold, but I don't really know. I'll, think about it as I go, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So, thanks for watching. I will see you guys next Sunday for some more fun. And this is the Avian Sanctuary Transfer. So for those of you that missed that, I used the chalk paste. These are the chalk pastes. I used the brushes with the chalk paste, and I think that's it. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm actually going to hold off sealing because I added this so I want it to dry. It dries really fast, but I don't want to risk smearing it. So, but when I seal, I use a water-based poly. This one's satin, and then I use a sponge or a sponge brush, the foam brushes, and just dip some of it in and wipe it on, and that seals it really well without causing any streaking that happens when you use a brush. So that's why I prefer using the foam brushes or like a craft sponge to do it, or you can use one of those car spongy things too, but sponges are really great for sealing in general, so that's what I do. So that would be the finishing part. So seal, yes, I would seal on top of the chalk paste too, even though it's permanent. You can still seal over it, so I will be doing that. But you don't have to seal them. They are permanent, so it's not necessary, but you can seal over it if you want to. And yeah, so that's it. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I will see you guys next Sunday, same time, and we'll be playing with something different. Hope you guys enjoyed watching this, and yeah, I will catch you later next Sunday. So.